Good morning, students. I wonder whether you can hear me now. Is it okay?
Good morning, sir. We hear you.
Well, it's okay now. You see, the voice is off till the beginning of the lecture. You see, so if you want just to check, just wait till 11:30. And now we are going to start our lecture today, beginning with the printed lecture that we have. You see now, what do we have in the screen? Is it visible
Yes,
to
we
you?
see it.
Okay. Today we are going to deal with chapter 3. It will be the final chapter, or let me say the last chapter that we are going to tackle in this course. It is entitled Essay Writing. Well, to begin with, we are going to have a definition of an essay. What does this mean? An essay is a group of paragraphs written about a single topic and a central main idea. If you compare this definition with the other, let me say, things that we tackled, the sentence, then with the paragraph, we are going to have a new unit, a new larger unit, that is an essay. So it is what? A group of paragraphs. So it means that we are going to have a larger unit.
دكتور
Yes, please. Yes.
بس الطلاب يطلبون رابط ثاني يردون يدخلون.
Okay. Soon it will be given. Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's okay. Well, once again, we say an essay is a group of paragraphs written about a single topic and a central main idea. With this definition, we have the following. First of all, we have a larger unit. We have a larger unit to talk about. It is something more than a paragraph. Here we have a group of paragraphs. Okay. And with this, what do we have? We have a central idea. So these paragraphs will be centralized on one idea. And this is very important. Okay. For an essay, it must have at least 3 paragraphs. If we say this, it means that we are going to have at least 3 paragraphs in writing an essay. So this should be kept in your mind. It means that no essay less than 3 paragraphs. It will not be essay. It is generally a piece of writing outlining the writer's perspectives or story. Well, and with this, you have to consider that when we are dealing with an essay, it means that we have something which is new. That is what the let me say the chance to present your personal idea or opinion in an academic context. Most likely that of university, what defines an essay is their purpose. So here, essays will be different in accordance to their types and purposes. Later, we are going to discuss what types that we have in essay. Essays serve as a way to assess your understanding of specific ideas and your ability to explain and argue these to answer a given question. So here when we talk about essays, it doesn't mean that we are going to have, let me say, a specific idea to discuss. It is the way that we are going to express our own opinions. And with this, we have to consider that in essay writing, we have a chance to represent our personal thoughts, personal ideas. Is there any question in relation to this definition? Any question about these things? Is it understood?
Yes, yes, sir.
Sorry?
Yes, it's clear.
Yes. Safe. We are recording the lecture. And when you have a point which is not clear, just tell me now. Anyway, so in relation to the definition, we have two things to consider. First of all, we have a larger unit rather than a paragraph. This is one. Second, we are dealing with a piece of writing that we can represent or express our own ideas. And this is very important. We move to another point, that is the structure of an essay. What do we have as elements of an essay? There is a specific structure that is generally followed while writing essays. So let us take a look at the general structure of an essay. So what do we have inside an essay? The first thing, or the first part, is introduction. This is the first paragraph of your essay. This is where the writer introduces his topic for the very first time. You can give a very brief account of your essay in the introductory paragraph. Generally, it is not very long, about 4 to 6 lines. Now, when we are talking about the first part, you may ask me, okay, don't we have a topic sentence? Well, in writing, yes, please. Good morning. Yeah. Well, you see, Abdullah, when you have the lecture as something recorded, as a recorded file, you can back to it and you can follow. You see now, once we repeat more than time, we have other things to discuss. Briefly speaking, we discussed only the definition of an essay, and you can check the definition in the printed lecture that is available on the class. Got the point now? You come back to it and you can ask me later if there is something which is not clear. Now we are discussing the structure of an essay. What are the elements of an essay? When we are going to write an essay, what are the elements that we are going to have? The first element, as we said, that we have introduction. With introduction, we have a paragraph in which we are going to introduce the topic that we have. And if you compare it with a paragraph, the first element was what? The topic sentence. Now, the question is, do we have a topic sentence? No, we don't have a topic sentence. We have sub-topic sentences that are centralized on one idea. And this is very important to compare with an essay and a paragraph. What do we have in a paragraph? A topic sentence. Here, since we have more than one paragraph, what do we have? Sub-topic sentences in which they are related to the idea or the main idea of the essay. And this is very important. So in writing an essay, what do we have? Introductory paragraph. That is the paragraph that we begin with. And this is very important. Any questions so far? Okay, okay, okay. I'm going to share. I'm going to share it now.
دكتور
Yes, yes, please.
يعني قصدك انه كل جزء يعني introduction البادي والconclusion كل واحدة لها جملة بيها هي صب شلون هي نسيت
Here, as I said, when we are talking about the difference between a paragraph and an essay, we are going to consider that in the essay we have a main idea which controls all parts of the essay. So we don't have one topic sentence. No, we have subtopic sentences that are found in each paragraph, which is in relation to the essay. Suppose that we have 3 paragraphs. So what do we have? 3 subtopic sentences that are related to the main idea. This is what I mean. Clear or not? Just tell me.
Yes.
Yes. So here, once again, the first part that we are going to have in an essay, we have introduction. And the introduction is what is certain lines in which you are going to introduce to the topic that you are going to discuss. Now, what is the second part? Is the body. This is the main part of your essays, and this is very important. What does it include? The body is the same here when we are talking about the body is let me say the heart of your essay, or when we are going to talk about this, we are going to name it as the core point of your essay. It is between the introduction and the conclusion. So the most vital and important content of the essay will be here, and this is very important. Every detail will be related to the body. Okay. This need not to be compared to one paragraph, and this is very important. It can extend to 2 or more paragraphs according to the content. This is just to say that the body is not necessary to be one paragraph. Okay, so as compared with the introduction can be 1 paragraph, but with the body, it can be 2 paragraphs or more. This is the idea. So it will not be limited to 1 paragraph. How much details that you have, it will be extended to the paragraphs that covers the body. So here, how much details that you have, how much paragraphs that you have. So it doesn't mean that it will be limited to 1 paragraph. It will be more than 1 paragraph. Later, practically, when we are going to have an essay, we are going to discover that. Usually, we have a lot of information to provide in the body. And the mistakes writers generally make is to go about it in a haphazard manner. You know haphazard, what does it mean? Haphazard. Haphazard means something which is irregular or something which is not systematic. Something which is to be considered as unsystematic, or let me say, the way that you are not having a sequence of ideas to be given in the body. So this will cause what? Which leaves the reader confused. So here, if we consider what do we need? We need coherence. What does it mean? Logical order of the ideas to be given in the body. When we talk about haphazard manner, what does it mean? Something unsystematic, illogical of the arrangement of the ideas that are given in the body. So what do we need? we need sequence of ideas that are given, or let me say logical arrangement of the ideas. This will make some sort of clarity and will not leave the reader confused. And this is very important. So it is important to organize your thoughts and content. And here, what is here the role of what? Of coherence. So there must be coherence in the body of the essay. Up to this point, any question? Any question? Yes, yes, please. Yes, please.
How many lines should we write in the introduction?
You see, I said it depends. Why? Because here, how much details that you have. Because here, what did we say about the body? It is the heart. When I say the heart, what does it mean? It means that how much you have details will determine how much you are going to write the body. Here, it may be a paragraph. It may be more than one paragraph. It may be 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs. It depends. So there is no length. Yes. Here, there is no regular length. You know the word length of the body. How much we have details to cover, it will be the body. This is the idea. So what is required now, and this is very important, to arrange your ideas. Do not jump from one idea to another. Make it sequential. Make it, organized in the way that you are not going to have some sort of confusion. This is what is required. So here, what is required is coherence, and this is very important. Now,
okay, in the body,
yes,
in the body, we should sequence the event, not development, or what you mean?
Well, it depends on the type of essay. When we say events, when we have something narrative, okay. So here, what is required? Just to have what sequence of ideas. Do not say something and then mention something else, and then you back to what is mentioned earlier. No. When you introduce an idea, finish it and move, or let me say shift to the other idea. So jumping of the ideas will create some sort of confusion. Now, write information in a systematic flow, and this is what is required, so that the reader can comprehend. Keep in your mind that you write to make others understand. If there is some sort of confusion, it means that there is something wrong in your essay. This is what is required. Okay. Any question about the body? Any question? Okay. We move to the third part. That is what? Yes, please.
Yes, Doctor. That means we have many ideas in body.
The body, as
The
body, as I said, it contains the details of the idea that you are going to. You see now, the essay totally has one idea, or let me consider it as a theme. This idea will be introduced in the first paragraph, and it is explained in detail in the body.
Yes, clear. Thank you.
Okay, so here, what do we have inside the body? We have what? We have sub-ideas. Sub-ideas. You know the word sub, S-U-B. Sub-ideas that are related to the main idea of the essay.
Yes, clear. Thank you, Doctor.
Now, we move to conclusion. So what do we have? We have introduction, we have body, and we have conclusion. What do we have in the conclusion? This is the last paragraph of the essay. Sometimes a conclusion will just mirror the introductory paragraph. What does this mean? Mirror, it means that it is just like a repetition of what is introduced, and that is what is meant by mirror. It is the same thing which is mentioned in the introduction, but in a different way. You see now, but make sure that the words and syntax are different. So you can rewrite the introductory paragraph in the what? In the conclusion, but in a different words and in different structure. A conclusion is also a great place to sum up a story or an argument. So here, sum up to what? To have a summary of what is mentioned. So that is to sum up a story or an argument. By the way, when we talk about an argument, since we have a new type, which is to be introduced in an essay, that is argumentative essay. And that's why we have the word argument. Make sure complete your essays with conclusion. So no essay without conclusion. So this is what we call essential part. And when we finish with conclusion, what do we have? We have the essential elements. So no essay without introduction, no essay without body, no essay without conclusion. This is what we call the structure, the way that we build our essay. So if you have two elements and you are going to leave the other, it means that there is something wrong with your essay. No essay without introduction, no essay without body, no essay without conclusion. Any question about the structure? Now, we move to tips for essay writing. That is some sort of suggestion when we talk about suggestion. Okay, first, give your essays an interesting and an appropriate title. And by the way, when we talk about the title here, if you are responsible just to have a title, you have to choose the title which gives an idea about the whole writing. So the title is very important. If you are choosing a title which is what? Which deals with something specific in the essay, it will be wrong. The title should be inclusive. It should contain all the ideas that are what? Considered in the essay. So it will help draw the attention of the reader and put here the curiosity. Here, when we talk about this, it means that when you are talking about the title, you have to make the reader having, let me say, a gist, or let me say a summary of what is to be read. So the title should be carefully chosen. And for me, by the way, I'm going to provide you with the titles. It means that this will be left, or this will be left to those who are going to require from you, let me say, the essay. So once you are going to be responsible for the title, you have to consider these points. This is one. Second, keep it between 300 to 500 words. So if you remember, when we are talking about what? A paragraph, what do we have? 100 words. Now, when we have an essay, the length of the essay should be between 300 to 500. This is, let me say, the extent of writing the essay, the length. This is the ideal length. You can take a creative license to increase or decrease it. That is what it depends on the idea to be discussed. It doesn't mean to be strict to 500s or to 300s. It depends on the idea. But this is the limits of, let me say, the acceptable. Yes, please. Yeah.
احنا 100 كلمة قوم دبر أو 300.
Sorry.
العفو أقول لك يعني هم 100 كلمة يلا ندبر.
No, you have to know that we are developing. We are developing. We are not going to go back. When you say that it is impossible, no. This is, you see now, what is our course? Essay writing, not paragraph writing. We are moving to stages, and you have to know we didn't begin with essay. We start with a sentence, and then we go to paragraph, and then we are going to have essay. It is not impossible. And you have to consider that what do we have? We have some sort of development. It doesn't mean that we are going to stick to one stage. Stage number 1 to write a sentence. Stage number 2 to write a paragraph. Yes, please. It's okay. Never mind. Never mind. Just follow. Just follow, please. Yeah, yeah. So do not say from the beginning it is difficult. You have to try. No way. Because this is what is required even in the final examination. What you are going to write in the final examination is what? Is an essay, not a paragraph. You have to consider that. And it doesn't mean that it will be done from the first trial. We are going to have a good time to train. This is the last thing that we are going to have. Nothing after. It means that we have a good time, maybe 2 months. 2 months of training would not be enough. I don't think so. It will be enough when you are going to have the aim to train. If you don't have the aim to train, of course it will be difficult and it will be impossible. But just try and train. And by the way, you have to know that you have a skill. Writing is a skill. When we are talking about skill, what does it mean? It needs training. It's just like any sport. When you have something just to, let me say, to have, you have to start training. And this is our course. I said from the early beginning, what do we have? We have a practical course. This is the idea. Clear or not? Just tell me. Okay. Well, we mentioned something about the length, and we go now to what? To the other point. Keep your language simple. And this is always my point to you all. Keep your language simple. Do not use difficult words that you don't know. Some students, when they wrote paragraphs, they chose difficult words that they cannot pronounce. And this is wrong. Keep your language simple. Unnecessary, complicated, and difficult words break the flow of the sentence. And this should be avoided. Clear or not? Just tell me. Clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Clear.
Do not make grammar mistakes. Use correct punctuation and spellings. If this is not done, it will distract the reader from the content. Before beginning the essay, organize your thought and plot a rough draft. What does it mean, a rough draft? It means that it will not be done by one trial. Do it first and do it as a draft. And then do some correction and write it once again. In this way, you are going to train to write, let me say, an acceptable essay. This way, you can ensure the story will flow and not be an organized mess. Okay, these are the suggestions for writing. Now, we move to the types of essays. How many types that we are going to consider? By the way, we have different types, but we are going to focus on 3 types. The type of essay will depend on what the writer wants to convey to his reader. There are broadly 3 types of essay. They are as follows. Of course, when we talk about narrative and descriptive, yes, please, yes, tell me. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Let me tell you. It is not just to say that simple, let me say elementary. No. When I say simple, what does this mean? It means use your own vocabulary, your own way to express. Of course, it doesn't mean that you are going to be a beginner. No. Of course, you have to show that you are an advanced learner. And this is your own responsibility. It doesn't mean that you are going to have very, let me say, elementary vocabulary. No. What I mean, try to avoid the word or the expression that you don't know. This is the idea. Of course, it is impossible to use words that you don't know because you don't know the context in which they are used. This is the idea. It doesn't mean that you are going to use something which is elementary. No. Reflect your level. Reflect the way that you are going to have, let me say, some sort of development in your style. This is definitely required. But here, it doesn't mean that you are going to use difficult words. You see now some students, when they wrote paragraphs, they use certain vocabulary that they cannot pronounce. And this is impossible. What we need is just what? To keep your level developed and use the vocabulary that you know. This is the idea. Clear or not? Just tell me.
Excuse me.
Now we move to types of essays. We said that we are going to deal with only three types. Why to say 3? Because we need to train on them. For each type, we are going to have 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Okay. Now, what are these? First, we have narrative essays. This is when the writer is narrating an incident or a story through the essay. So these are in the first person. What does it mean first person? It means that the writer will be the narrator. This is what when we say first person, it means that the use of I. The aim when writing narrative essays is to involve the reader in them as if they were right there. What does this mean? We need to make the reader feel or live in the events that we are going to narrate. And this is our responsibility. It's not only just to mention something. No, we make the reader feel what we are, let me say, introducing when it was happening. So make them as vivid and real as possible. What's meant by vivid? Simple, or let me say clear, and real as possible. What's meant by real? It means that we want just to make the reader imagine what we have. I think it's okay now with narrative essay. Now we move to descriptive essay. Descriptive essays, here the writer will describe a person, a place, an object, and an event, or maybe even a memory. But it is not just plainly describing things. The writer must paint a picture through his words. This is very interesting here. If we are talking about this, it means that we are talking about images. Try to use images as far as possible. One clever way to do that is to evoke the senses of the reader. And this is very important. What's meant by evoke? To erect, to let me say, to stimulate the reader's senses, to make them feel and sense what we sense and what we feel. Do not only rely on sight, but also involve the other senses of smell, touch, sound, etc. A descriptive essay, when done well, will make the reader feel the emotions the writer was feeling at the moment. And you see, some students, when they wrote their own descriptive paragraph, they made me feel. And this is a successful way of writing. Now, we move to the third type and the new type that we have, and this is very important. That is what? Argumentative essays. An argumentative essay is a type of essay that presents arguments about both sides of an issue. And this is very important. What does this mean? With argumentative essay, we have some sort of controversial, something which is what? We have two sides, one agree, one disagree. Okay, this is what we call argument. That is, it is not just to be agreed by all or disagreed by all. We discuss a topic in which we have somebody who agree, somebody who disagree. This is the idea. So it could be that of both sides. What do we say both sides? That is showing agreement and disagreement, okay, are presented equally balanced. Suppose that we have a title, just like when we talk about a private learning and public learning. For example, this topic shows two sides. Some will be with private learning, others will be with public learning, and there is some sort of agreement and disagreement. This is what we call argumentative style of writing. Or it could be that on one side is presented more forcefully than the other, and this is very important. That is what? You are going to take a stand. What does it mean? As a writer, you are going to encourage, or you are going to be of one side. You are going to say that, for example, when we are going to discuss an idea about democracy in Arab countries, for example, somebody will say, well, democracy is not suitable for Arab countries. And he will take this opinion and will convince us that this opinion will be correct. This is what we call what? One side. That is what? To convince the reader that what you are going to have as an opinion will be correct than the other opinion. It all depends on the writer, and this is very important. When you are going to have an argumentative essay, this is your own responsibility to convince others of your opinion. If you don't have this tool, your essay will not be considered as successful. So you have to convince others of your own idea, providing evidences, providing some sort of supports, okay, for the ideas that you are going to discuss. And what side he supports the most, and this is what is meant by argumentative essay. Please tell me if there is any question about this, because this is very important. This is a new type, and we are going to practice on it. And if it is not clear, please tell me any question if you have.
Yes, Doctor, can you repeat it?
Yes, with pleasure. With argumentative essay, what do we have? We have an idea of controversy. That is what? Two sides. One agree and one disagree. So the idea will be divided into two sides. You are going to mention something for somebody who believes so and so, and then you are going to move to the other side for other people who believe the opposite, and at the end you are going to take a stand. What does it mean to take a stand? To have your own opinion. Are you with this opinion or with that opinion? Suppose, as we said, we have an opinion or the idea, democracy in Arab countries. Are you with this idea or against this idea? You are going to what? To discuss the first part. You say that some people believe that democracy is successful in Arab countries, and you are going to give evidences. And then you move to another side. That is what? You are against this. I mean, it doesn't mean that you personally, I mean that other people who believe that democracy is unsuccessful in Arab countries. You are going to discuss this, and you are going to provide evidences for that. And then you are going to present your personal idea or personal opinion. Are you with or against? This is what is meant by argumentative essay. Clear or not?
Yes,
Yeah.
clear, Doctor.
Okay. With this, we finish with the definition of essay, the structure of an essay, suggestion for writing a good essay, and with the types of essay. Now, what are the conditions of good essay? By the way, the same conditions that we have in what? In paragraph. There must be unity, there must be coherence, there must be transition and cohesion. And by the way, this is cohesion, not coherence. Let me correct it. Okay. And with this, when we talk about these conditions, how can these be represented? When we say unity, of course, when we have different paragraphs, there must be a relation among them. Suppose that you are going to write an essay of 4 paragraphs. These 4 paragraphs should be related. It doesn't mean that you are going to present something in the first paragraph which is different from the second paragraph and third paragraph. These should be united on one idea. Coherence, here it means logical arrangement of the ideas that you have in the essay. Once you are going to have different sub-ideas, these ideas should be arranged logically. And that is what's meant by coherence. Transition and cohesion. What's meant by this? Transition means a shift. How can you shift from one paragraph to another? This is what's meant by transition. And cohesion, joining, the way that you are going to join using conjunction. Of course, conjunction will be available there in writing different paragraphs in an essay. So the conditions that we have and we discussed in detail in the paragraph will be found similarly in the essay. Clear or not? Just tell me. Any question? Any question?
Yes, clear.
Yeah. Okay. Now, here, what is discussed earlier is what? What is discussed so far is something theoretical. Let us have an example, the way that we are going to see all what is mentioned in the example that we are going to discuss. Of course, the first part or the first type of an essay, that is narrative. And what is presented here, a narrative essay which is taken from your book. Study the following example. Let us see this narrative essay, and which is entitled The Stranger on the Bridge. I'm going to read it from the beginning to the end. Please follow. The big town hall clock was striking midnight when Frank began to cross the bridge. The night air was cold and damp. A low mist hung over the river, and the street lamps gave little light. If you consider the first paragraph, what do we call it? introductory paragraph. What kind of introduction? We are having an introduction of the place. So, since we have what? A stranger on the bridge. So what is the introduction? The place and a person who is in that place. That is Frank. Frank was anxious to get home, and his footsteps rang loudly on the pavement. When he reached middle of the bridge, he thought he could hear someone approaching behind him. He looked back, but could see no one. However, the sound continued, and Frank began walking more quickly. Then he slowed again, ashamed of himself for acting so foolishly. There was nothing to fear in a town as quiet as this. The short, quick steps grew louder until they seemed very near. Frank found it impossible not to turn around. As he did so, he caught the sight of a figure coming towards him. After reaching the other side of the bridge, Frank stopped and pretended to look down at the water. From the corner of his eye, he could now make out of the form of a man dressed in a large overcoat. A hat was pulled down over his eyes, and very little of his face could be seen. As the man came near, Frank turned towards him and said something about the weather in an effort to be friendly. The man did not answer, but asked gruffly where Oakfield's house was. Frank pointed to a big house in the distance, and the stranger continues his way. The inquiry made Frank suspicious because he knew that the inhabitants of Oakfield House were very wealthy. Almost without realizing what he was doing, he began following the stranger quietly. The man was soon outside the house, and Frank saw him look up at the windows. A light was still on, and the man waited until it went out. When about half an hour he passed, Frank saw him climb noiselessly over the wall and heard him drop on the ground of the other side. Now Frank's worst suspicions were confirmed. He walked quickly and silently across the street towards the telephone box on the corner. Now, with the end of this essay, let me ask you, did you find some sort of unclarity on this essay? Look at the title and look at the details of the title that we have. What do you think? Who can tell me? Who can answer me? Now it's you to talk, please.
Yes.
Yes. Now, Fatma,
Well,
what do you think now? What do you think? What do you think of this essay?
it's related, completely simple. The ideas reach to me simply.
Yeah.
From the beginning to the end,
Yeah.
the sentences are follow each other.
Yeah. Now notice how many paragraphs that you have. How many paragraphs? Let us count them. Let us count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs, you see? 8
Yeah.
paragraphs. What does this mean?
It means along
It means that the idea will lead how many paragraphs that we are going to write.
Okay.
We said at least 3 paragraphs. At least. You see now? How many paragraphs that we have? Okay.
8.
Now.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yeah. Tell me, please.
The essay, all of it, this essay, the sample.
Yeah.
It's all of it a narrative essay, right?
Yeah.
The paragraphs, the narrative paragraphs, the descriptive one.
Yeah.
Can we, could put them in one essay or not?
Well, when you compare between paragraphs and essays, the idea will be different. Why?
Not
Because
comparing, sir. I mean, my essay needs a descriptive paragraph and a narrative one.
You mean you are going to have one type? This is your question. You need just what? You need just to have one type in one essay. Well, this is impossible. Why? Because we have a distinction. This is one. Second, when we discuss different types, we mean that we have to show this difference. But it doesn't mean that you have inside a narrative paragraph, we have a description. And inside a descriptive an essay, for example, we have some sort of a story. But here, the distinction should be clear. Now, if I ask you, what type of essay that we have now, surely you are going to say that this is what? Narrative. Clear, Fatma, or not? Just tell me. Here, when we have this example, what is the type of essay? Narrative. But don't we have description? Yes, we have a description of a stranger inside the story. Right or wrong? Just tell me.
Yes,
Fatma.
I asked because of this.
You see now? But you have to know that the title will decide the type.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Good point now. So there must be a distinctive type, a narrative essay, a descriptive essay, an argumentative essay. But inside this, we can find some sort of mixture. But this mixture will not be some sort of confusion. No. For sure, each essay should be in a definite type.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, when we analyze this example, what do we have? We have introduction, that is what? The first paragraph, and the body. You see how many paragraphs that we have for the body? We have 6 paragraphs. 6 paragraphs for the body. And only the last 3 lines will be what? The conclusion. Clear or not? Just tell me. That is what? That is the structure of this example. The first paragraph is what? Introduction. The other 6 paragraphs will be what? The body. And the last paragraph, it will be what? The conclusion. Who can tell me why did I divide this example in this way? Who can tell me? I need you now to answer. Why to consider this division? Please. Who can answer? Yes, please. Tell me. No, we said that we have 8 paragraphs, okay? The first one is what? Introductory. The other 6 will be body. The last paragraph is what? Conclusion. Here, when we consider this, according to which let me say, parameter or criteria. This is in relation to the idea of the whole essay. This is the way, this is the criteria in which we divide the paragraphs. And this division will not be, let me say, for all essays. Maybe other essays will have another division. This is the idea. This is not a rule. Here in this essay, the idea makes us to have 8 paragraphs. The idea itself. Okay? But in other essays, the idea will be different and the division will be different. Clear or not? Just tell me.
Yes.
Any question about this? Any question about this? Yeah, yes, please. The idea will lead you. The topic will lead you. There is no specific number. The idea, you see now, if you consider the example, do you think that there is a paragraph which is not necessary? Can you delete or omit a paragraph from this essay? Okay. You see now? So I cannot delete now. I cannot delete a paragraph because if I delete, it will affect on the sequence of events. All paragraphs that are found in this essay will be necessary. Get the point now? And to help you, by the way, since this essay is found in the book, if you check the book itself, what do we have for this essay? We have a plan. If you check on page 23 on the book, if you check the book now, is it available to you? Just tell me. Is it available?
Yes.
If you check the book, you are going to see the plan of this essay. What do we have? Before the event, after the event. So this plan will help you to arrange your ideas. And if you check now the ideas that are found in the plan, only, let me say, hints or main ideas, or let me say keywords, not, let me say, long sentences. You see now, before the event, midnight, bridge, cold, dark. Frank on a bridge. Someone approaching, effect on him. Steps come near. Frank turns to look, pretends to stop, sees stranger, description. And then what do we have? Event, conversation, man wants information. Frank suspicious. Why? Follows, outside, house, lights, man over, wall. Then after the event, Frank now, sure, telephone box. You see now? So to help yourself, put a plan to arrange your ideas. And with this, when you are going to arrange what ideas to be included in your essay, it will be easier to change the hints to complete sentences and to complete paragraphs. Clear or not? Just tell me. Any question? Any question, please? So here, what does it mean? Make a plan as we have in the book. Now compare the plan with the essay. You are going to see that there is a perfect arrangement. There is coherence in the way that ideas are arranged logically. There is a sequence of the, let me say, ideas. We don't have jumping. And we have, you see now, a smooth transition from one idea to the other. And in this case, we are going to have coherence, sequence of ideas, and we have transition. And if you check now, the transition, you see now, when we begin, what do we have? We have a transition from one paragraph to the other. And by the way, here, the division of the paragraph in relation to the transition. I cannot have a new paragraph without a shift from one thing to the other. You see now, in the first introductory paragraph, we have the atmosphere in the bridge. And then we have a shift now. We have a shift to another sub-idea, which is about the feeling of